Benvenuti nella giungla di graffiti. Questo è Impostore Rockstar. It's the fake Rockstar chat show. Pensieri Tangenziali, formerly known as Tangential Thoughts chat show. Oh man, I have it might be called, there it is, Schizo. We actually got merch for this. I actually have merch, Schizo. So, waiting for that. So, which mental illness would you like to have? Which mental illness would you like to have? Bipolar, schizo, ADHD. They're all superpowers. Okay, let's do this like that. There. Okay, and I'm gonna put this over here. Okay, now we're done. Let me see. Okay, I think it pinned. Let's try that one more time because it said it didn't pin that time it worked. Alright. Alright. Okay. Welcome to the graffiti jungle. Parlo per lingue. Benvenuti nella giungla di graffiti. Questo è Impostore Rockstar. It's the fake Rockstar chat show. Pensieri Tangenziali, formerly known as Tangential Thoughts chat show. We should be working on a podcast in about 96 hours. Sono il capo, io sono Chief Gihareh, Julius Caesar, Augustus Carol, Napoleon. Alright. So the question on the poll is, which mental illness would you like to have? Bipolar, schizophrenia, ADHD, ADD, what's the difference? They're all superpowers, right? Split personality. So, I am not, let me see, if I get a little closer. Let me see if I can get a little closer. All right. I am not, no Dr. Umar, no Dr. Lane Bryant. I am not a doctor, right? I'm just gonna talk about books I've read, movies I've seen, television shows. Remember, nothing is getting better. Everything has peaked. Nothing is getting better. The best of everything already exists. TV shows, movies, cartoons, animes, music, fashion. The best of everything already exists. Everything has peaked and nothing is getting better. All right. So, a couple things here. No Dr. Umar, no Dr. Lane Bryant. I'm not a doctor. Television, movies, TV shows, books. I'm just speaking my opinion. Opinions are like everybody has one, right? So, let's do it like this. A couple other disclaimers, right? A couple other disclaimers. Another one is everyone has a little bit of some type of ADHD, mental illness, whatever, but how we mask it is up to that person and individual. And some people have money to mask their mental illness. Now, it would be nice if you are able to find a title, an umbrella that encompasses all parts of you. It'd be nice if you can find one thing that allows you to be multiple things. right? So there's a couple of things to like talk about, right? One of them, so with schizophrenia, there's like the truth and what it really is, right? But then there's like this perception, how it's depicted in a picture, movies. A movie that comes to mind, Fight Club, right? A television show that comes to mind is this show called Ratchet, Nurse Ratchet, on Netflix, television show. Then there's this book that I read, and I can't remember the name of the book, but, and some couple things, right? Why do I mention these movies? Why do I mention these things? Split personality, right? The good parts of schizophrenia, the good parts, right? Is there a good to it? So, it's not a foreign concept. Beyonce has Sasha Fierce. There are people in real life that have this alter ego. The alter ego is what gives them that confidence, that boost, whatever, right? To think or say or do something, right? That their normal self would not do, right? So there's a streamer, right? And he asked the girl, he said, "Do you like me better on camera or off camera?" She said, "I like you better on camera." It's the fact that when he's on camera, he has a different personality. When he's off camera, he doesn't have that same demeanor, persona, charisma, character, riz. He don't got that same personality off camera. She said, "I like you better on camera." So again, when people are in certain spaces, if the camera's on them or if they're in a certain place, certain time, they act a certain way. They have a certain personality or a certain demeanor. It's not to say that it's separate from them, but whenever they're in a certain space, under a certain influence, whatever it is that triggers it, they act a different way from what they normally act like. But it's not to say that that's not them, right? It's not separate from them. Now, in the movie Fight Club, here's like the interesting, right? The good part of schizophrenia is you give this alter ego a name. It allows you to be, say, and do things that you would really like to say and do. That's good parts of schizophrenia. That's good parts of split personality. Everybody has a little bit of it. You act one way here, you act another way here. It ain't to say that those aren't, it's both you, but you don't do and say the same things that you do and say over here. Whether you give it a name for it or not, totally different thing, right? So, in Fight Club, it's not until the end of the movie, right? It takes him a while to understand that, like, this other person was really him. This other person was saying and doing everything of what he really truly wanted to say and do. This other guise, it wasn't a disguise. This other guise, disguise, this other person did and said everything that he wanted to say and do. But it's not until the end of the movie he's like, oh my goodness, he realizes that this person is me. I created this whole character, this whole person who did and said certain things. And now, but I have to live with because it was really just me doing and saying all of these things. When he got with the girl, when he when he got into like these skirmishes with all these people. First rule of Fight Club, when I'm talking about Fight Club, right? He he set up this whole. He said it was like a whole nother world because the mundane, the monotony of his normal life. It was just he had a comfortable job, you know. He got a boss. Not that he liked his boss. That was just that he spent so much time. He had a comfortable life. Things on repeat, just mundane, monotony, just going through. That's safe. That's stable. And then it just comes to a point he doesn't want to be like this anymore. He doesn't want to be like this anymore. And so he has this whole persona, and the way the person talks, moves, everything that they do is what he really wants to do. Schizophrenia. Schizo. They're all superpowers. So there's the good part, right? The fact that you actually do, even if it's not this and the third, whatchamacallit, right? Now, in Nurse Ratched, there's a black lady. And she doesn't take over like the show, but there's one show in particular where she's like the center. And she does an amazing job. But again, it's the depiction, it's the perception of schizophrenia. We don't really know what it's like and what it really could be, right? So the saying that I like from 2025 is, two things can be true. Now with her, she's over here like, I used to perform at the opera in front of like these kings and queens and this and the third. So she takes on this whole persona. I used to perform over here in Italy at the this and the third. Like she talks to all these other whatchamacallits, right? And so one of the things is, again, in Fight Club, it takes him a while to realize, oh, I've been doing and saying all this stuff. It wasn't somebody else, right? And that there's like this whole design and third. So one of the questions that you ask a schizophrenic person is, are you aware that this is what you're doing and saying? Like if you was to sit down and record a schizophrenic person and they have these episodes and you're like, okay, yeah, around this time it's clear that your mannerism, your speech, your movement, behaviors are different. When I talk to you right here, I see that you're doing this and the third. Like if you was to put a schizophrenic person in an isolated area, even if it was like people in this and the third, boom, boom, you'd be like, okay, now you're moving different. Now you're acting different, talking different, you're moving weird. I'm not gonna say weird, but now it's different from what it was before. And then like, let's say if you were to expand it over like, let's say a week, right? Just for conversational purposes. Let's say for conversational purposes, you were to watch a schizophrenic person, right? And you would say, here, here, and here. Like you start to like, let's say, because sometimes it's just an alter ego, that's two. Sometimes it's a split personality, how many? But then it's like, the speech, the mannerisms, the movements, the behavior. These are three sets of patterns, right? Let's just say it's three. Like these are three separate, so these would be three separate characters, right? And let's say they even have names for it too, because sometimes they're like, oh, I'm Julius Caesar, or I'm this person, I'm that person, I'm like, so they got all these different personalities, right? Captain Jack Sparrow. Now, if you're an actor or actress, you see how some people have money or they have a profession that allows them to be, do, say other parts of themselves, and some people do it really well. Captain Jack Sparrow, right? Pirates of the Caribbean. So, let's say you took a schizophrenic person, you watched them over a span of a week, and then you were able to clearly document three different sets of mannerisms, speech, patterns, movements, behaviors, right? And then you could ask them and say, are you aware of each one of these? And so the thing about it is, two things can be true. Two things can be true, right? What if part of it is, no, I'm not aware that when this and this, and I'm not aware of those other ones, or I didn't know that I said or did this, or I didn't know I said or that. That's when you can't control the superpower, right? Two things can be true. So what if they're just not aware? Under this one, yeah, I'm aware of this and the third. I know what I'm talking to you right now, this and the third, boom, boom. That person, I don't know what that person was saying and doing. This person, I don't know what that person was saying and doing, but it's them, right? And so that's one, but it's a part of them in that brain. So when that person, if you were to engage with this person and talk to this person, that person might say the same thing. I don't know about this one and that one, but I know this one. Yeah, that's me. I did that and said, I was doing and saying that. That was me. You see? I was doing the same like that. So each of the different personality parts of that brain, when being triggered, it knows what it was doing and saying, right? And so this also ties into, there's a book I read, and now in this book that I read, it said something similar, but the girl knew. She knew she had an alter ego personality. She knew that. The thing is, sometimes she would just be like, well, all right. She, in the alter ego, had a name. She called it Judy. And so some people Judy knew, she'd be like, oh, this must be a person Judy knows. Or this must be a person, this person. Like, so she would say, so she would then have to learn how to talk. Or just be like, okay, whatever they're asking me or saying from a this and a third, they must be talking to Judy. And so she'd be like, well, I wonder what would Judy say? How would Judy talk into her in response to this person? She's been going through life enough to know what that persona would do and say too. But she's not aware when she is under that whatever, but she does know, like, Judy must have said this person. Judy must know this person. Judy must have a relationship with this person. I don't have a relationship with this person. That was a whole nother thing. So in this book, she had a relationship. She might have this person, like one part of her might have a relationship, but another part of hers wouldn't. And she could be in two different relationships almost. But one person would know this person and the other person would know the other person. She would be in two different relationships. But her alter ego was in a relationship with this person and she was in a relationship with another person. That type of thing. So the one thing comes down to, like, so basically that's like, it's the awareness, right? It's the awareness of, are you aware of the other personalities? And so then there comes like this level of awareness, right? So one, no awareness, no distinction between what's going on between any of these. And then another level of awareness would be, okay, I'm aware that there's another alter ego, there's another personality, there's another side of me that does and says and moves and talks a certain way. There's that. But then there's another one that says, like, I'm very well aware of when I'm acting and moving different. I know I'm very well aware of when I'm talking, acting, and moving different. I'm calling this other side of my personality or persona this, but I know I'm talking and moving different from how I normally talk and move and act. And that's levels of awareness. Two things, multiple things can be simultaneously be true, right? So it's if there are people, you know what I'm saying, and you just saying, like, yeah, I know that and it's like, if I want to, I will talk, act, move this way and call the persona this. And I'm gonna talk, act, move this way, and I'm gonna call the persona this. And so that's the good, because it's allowing you to be more creative, to be more expressive, right? What if one side of you is really quiet and reserved, right? But you have a mouth, you can make sounds. So your soul doesn't want to be quiet all the time, right? So what if one part of you is just like, nah, I gotta talk. So then there's another persona that's very expressive, very talkative, you know? Um, so the bad side would just be if you are So when does it turn into a bad thing? It's bad if you are not sure or aware of a way to control it. If you're unaware of the going in and out. But then, well, it's bad if there are things that are happening that you're saying and doing and unaware of. That's when it's like bad, right? If you're unsure and unaware of the things that you're saying and doing, and you're around people. You see what I'm saying? If you were schizophrenic and you stayed at home all day and you didn't talk to anybody, you see why it's good? Because you be talking to yourself. You be talking to all your personalities. You're never really lonely. See the good part? But no. If you was at home all day and you were schizophrenic, you don't interact with people. So there's anything that you're saying and doing, you're not affecting anybody else. You see what I'm saying? It's just when you're around people, it's just like, oh, well, now I have to act like this. I have to act like this other part of myself that I may not want to act like. You see what I'm saying? That fact that when you're by yourself, you're okay. But when you're around certain people or in this environment, I gotta act and talk, and I gotta act and talk like this. When I'm by myself, I get to act and talk like this. And so then that's a whole thing. So yeah, the bad part, if there's a bad part, a way to be around it, is to is if you're around people and you have to act and talk to be a certain way. Because the reason I'm saying it's around other people, because it gets to a point where either one, you don't care, or because there's a lot of different motivations to certain things. Like, you might not want to be in a certain space for too long. You might start to get like it can get stressful, like for social anxiety. There's a lot of different reasons, right? So then because of that social pressure, anxiety, whatever, now it's like, and like, you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm in this space, I'm in this area. I don't want to be around these people. I don't want to talk to these people. I don't want to do. And you're in that space for a while. That can make you start to really, now this other side of you comes out. Because the other side might protect you, right? You've grown into the adult that would have protected you as a child. It's I gotta get out of this. I gotta get out of this space. I gotta act and talk this way just to get out of this space. Potentially, maybe. So, the bad part is only when you're unaware of what you're saying and doing, and other people are affected. Otherwise, you can live with your own, all right? You can live with however you're talking, moving, saying, and doing. So, it's good in the sense that it allows you to be more expressive. It's interesting in being able to have a level of awareness, because if you realize that you're schizophrenic, then you say like, it can be like a personal challenge, a goal, to just be like, you know what, I'm gonna be aware of when I'm altering my mannerisms and behavior. I'm gonna just call it this, but at least I'm aware of it. At least I'm aware of it. So I think that's why it's interesting. The levels of awareness of schizophrenia. The good parts about schizophrenia is that it allows you to be more expressive and creative and different. You know what I'm saying? Around, they're all parts of you, and you're just trying to find something. You're trying to find one title that allows you to be all of yourself at any given point in time. You're trying to find one title that allows you to be all parts of you at any given time. That is the trick. That's the thing, right? Like, you might do this job, whatever the job is. You might have a career, whatever it is. It allows you to be one part of you or a couple parts of you. But then the rest of you, you don't get to be that much of you by the time you get off. You see what I'm saying? You spend a you spend a lot of money on shelter. You spend a lot of money on shelter for a place that you only gonna sleep in. That you Where do you spend more time at? Do you spend more time at your job career, or do you spend more time at home? And of the time that you're spent, and let's say awake, because sleep is just sleep. So which one do you spend more time at? And so with that being said, which one are you more of yourself in? So, because basically what I'm saying is, at work or at your career, whatever it is, you're spending a majority of your day, of your waking time and moments, not being who you want to be. And then you spend a smaller part of your day, you spend very little part of your day doing, saying, being, right? Whatever it is that you want to say, whatever it is that you want to do, you spend a smaller part of your day being what you want to be. Because then you got to go to sleep because you're tired. A wage and a salary is what an employer pays you to give up on your dreams, and you agreed to it. That's not good. How much does somebody got to pay you to give up on your dreams, your hopes, your wishes, your goals, your passions? That's what you agreed to, and that's one of those like subtle things that you got to sit there and that you wrestle with a lot every day, right? To know that they used to have this question: how much is your life worth? Right? How much is an hour of your life worth? Now you can put it up. You can sit up there and say, "Oh, 30, 35, $50 an hour, right?" That's an hour of your life. Because then you look at the things that you buy and you spend. And like, it used to be like a small conversation was when you first start working and you first get your first job, your first paycheck, you start to look at like, oh man, if I work this long, I can get these shoes. How many hours I gotta work to get these shoes? How many hours you gotta work to pay for that house, that apartment, that car? It's just so many. How many hours do you have to spend not being yourself? And so just spending so much of your day and your time working for certain things that can still be taken away from you, you know? That's why I like what Jim Carrey was talking about his father. And his father gave up the orchestra, he gave up music to go do something stable. And he moved his family. And his father lost all of that. So Jim was like, yeah, if you're gonna lose everything, you already made this sacrifice. You can lose everything doing something you don't love. And he was like, I'd rather just lose some. It was that. Doing something you don't love, making all these sacrifices and then losing everything. Losing the family, losing the job and the family and this. You lose all of that. And you already made all these sacrifices. You should just stay with the music if you was gonna lose it anyway. You spend so much of your time in your day not being who you want to be. So if you're cosplaying as whatever your 9 to 5 is, whatever your day job is, that's your cosplay. That's your alter ego, that's your other persona, because it ain't exactly who you want to be. So you spend a lot of time acting like something else or not truly yourself. And then you're tired, and then you spend a little bit of time acting like how you really truly want to be. It sounds like you schizophrenic. It sounds like you got two different personalities, one during the day and one in your free time. They're not the same. The person you are in your free time and the person you are at work ain't the same, and that's the thing.
That's why you're schizophrenic.